Me? Hello, my name is Joseph Carl Isaac, and I'm the president of People First at Concord Live in Concord, California. The Lanterman Act is absolutely mandatory for people with physical and mental disabilities, and the funds are lacking to help, make it a reality. And like in some cases, people with physical disabilities, like my girlfriend Darlene, she walks with a walker, and we've been looking into trying to get a ramp put up, like whenever she comes to my condo to visit. She has trouble. She has to have help getting up the stairs, and it's a ground floor condo, and there's just two stairs, but she needs help. She has to have somebody help her get up the stairs, and so we're looking into trying to see if we can get a ramp put in, so she can get up the stairs easier, and people with physical disabilities we need more ramps, in cities like Concord and Orinda, and here in Sacramento, and so more of that needs to be done, so that people who walk with walkers or crutches or who are wheelchair bound can be able to get around and make their way up and down facilities that people who are ambulatory can do easily and think nothing of, and so we need more funding for the Lanterman Act, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Jackie Dillard Foss. I'm a member of the California Supported Living Network and also the Lanterman Coalition. And I fully support the task force recommendations, but I want to say that part of the distress that I'm in currently is the article this morning. And when I look at the background information, it says, like the issues at SDC, areas of noncompliance include treatment plans, protection of residents, client health and safety, and clients' rights. This happened after the DC task force recommendations. And if we don't, I listened to DDS talk about the cultural shift at Sonoma. I have toured Sonoma. I think we need a political cultural shift. You have to invest in the community. I hear about retrofitting boilers, new technology. Let's talk about what are you investing in the community. We're not hearing that through this DC process. This is what was. Let's go to what will be. If we're looking at the future, we have to look at what will be. And when we looked at those groups of people, the people that were medically fragile, the people that were behaviorally complex, and the forensics folks, that was only half. If you go to Fairview Developmental Center and you take a tour of the garden, every single person in that garden is someone that I could support in supported living services. The other recommendation I want to say is that bothers me is I have families search me out because supported living services is not given as an option consistently. They have to struggle and fight. 5 people out of the Lanterman Developmental Center are going into supported living services, and I'm fortunate that the 6th person going into supported living services will be coming into my program. I'm excited to help him transition. But what is the investment in the community? We just really need to have a cultural, political shift and a cultural shift to the community-based services. And like this mother said, if you do not invest in those staff, and we're going to hear from the unions about the employees at the developmental center, I want you to hear about my employees who are making $11, $12 an hour and working with those very difficult people. We've supported 45 people who've left developmental centers, so we really need to think about where are you investing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Kiara Hedgeland. My friend Kim was just up here, And while she couldn't really speak to you today, when she can really vocalize her feelings about living in a DC, she does say that while she supports the task force and all that it's doing and has done so far, she needs to see a timeline, because without a timeline, she's afraid that it's never going to happen. And that's due to she's seen and heard things like this happening in the past and hasn't seen anything come out of it. I also want to mention that I am part of an advocacy business, Project SEED, which stands for Seeking Equality through Education and Demonstration, and we have offered to go into the developmental centers and meet with people in similar situations as we are, and have them have a mentor type situation out in the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Carol McKinney, and I'm with the California Supported Living Network, and I also provide independent living and supported living services to about 275 people in the community. And I think everybody in this room agrees that when moving people from the DCs into the community, we need to have adequate resources. Harmony Home over the years, Harmony Home has transitioned a number of people from the DCs into successful supported living arrangements in the community. And we were able to do so because we looked at the person's needs, developed programs around them, and those supports were funded. When the median rate language came into effect several years ago, it limited the ability of new providers to provide supported living in the community. When people are moving out of the DCs, we're going to need more people providing supported living in the community. The median rate was adopted as a cost-cutting measure. It's only a unit of measurement, has nothing to do with the individual needs of a person, and I think we need to take a look at it and determine whether or not it's appropriate in the Lanterman Act. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. Doug Chiapetta on behalf of the Union of American Physicians and Dentists. Madam Chair, Senator Monning, we represent the physicians and dentists that work in the various developmental centers. A few quick remarks. We appreciate the significance of this meeting today, this hearing, and both yourself and Senator Monning made some comments pertaining to patient services and outpatient services, particularly at Lanterman. The concern amongst the physicians and the dentists will always be patient continuity. Do we have a sufficient safety net in the community that can handle the medically complex, the medically fragile has been alluded to today, certainly complex dental conditions. It takes years for that level of continuity to develop between a dentist and a patient within the developmental centers. So going forward, we would just encourage the committee to certainly look at the successes of Agnew's. I was here and part of that transitionary plan, but also look at some of the problems that resulted there in terms of expediting folks who weren't necessarily medically appropriate for the community. Our contention is always going to be that there is going to be developmental centers that need to be in place for various populations, including Porterville and various facilities around the state. So going forward, hopefully we can be mindful of that. Just to echo a comment from Ms. Miller of the parent group from Sonoma County, there's not a model in place right now that can handle the very medically complex, and I think we need to look at that if we're truly looking at assimilating everybody into the community. There was a remark on dental being able to be conducted at the community level. Again, a very complex procedure and population, but not saying it cannot be done, but let's just be mindful of how we transition that services. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair and members, Kobe Pizzati with Merch Bassoff and Associates, representing California Association of Psychiatric Technicians. My members are the largest direct level of care providers in the developmental centers, especially at Lanterman. We have members that have worked with individuals there for 35 plus years, and they have grown up with these people. They're a second family to these people. And as these people transition out into the community, the asset of having a staff member like that transition with them out into the community, brings me up to the point of the community state staffing program. What are the barriers to getting more vendors to participate in this program? Because the staff are an incredible asset. And that is one of the things that we feel really needs to be considered as we go forward in this process. Furthermore, I would like to associate myself with Ms. Miller's comments. I thought she was right on point with that, especially with Mr. Chiapetta. Secondarily, we were members of the task force on the future of developmental centers, and I just wanted to make one quick comment. We were, encouraged by the way the task force progressed. However, we disagreed with the recommendations, and we also provided our comments at the end of that document. So you can read that as you choose. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, good afternoon. Randy Cheek with SEIU Local 1000, and like my two brothers with me who were before me, we represent a number of the staff at the developmental centers, and we do have some concerns about the community to state staff program. As you heard Deputy Director Flannery say, there's one contract in place for a number of regional centers, and only about 9 people out of probably a couple hundred have actually taken those positions. There must be a reason why. And I think later today you'll hear testimony about raising the minimum wage, that's going to be an issue with the community centers because, quite frankly, a lot of these community centers pay minimum wage. And that's why you're not having some of this continuity of staff, people who have licenses, certificates, and other credentials that are following some of these groups into the community centers and development, or into the regional centers. So that's a concern of ours, because we want to see my members' most concern when we met about closing Lanterman was that continuity of service. And we have some concerns about that continuity of service continuing once folks leave the developmental centers, and that's one of our main concerns. And we want you to, think about that as you put these budgets together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Senator Corbett, Senator Monning, Will Sanford with Futures Explored. I was one of the community members on the DC Futures Task Force, and I'm always appreciative of the Secretary taking her time and coming out and speaking to you. And on behalf of that, support the recommendations of the framework that was put together. It wasn't all the pieces that you asked for, but I think it's a pretty good framework and really outlines what we think needs to happen related. That obviously is a lot of detail to come into it. And as a part of that, as I go through your budget today, I look at a couple opportunities. At Lanterman, 2 of the recommendations, one relates to health service or developing community health services. We're talking about the outpatient clinic being there while it's in Warm shutdown. Why don't we look at a way, using that as a way to model and or try out developing health services that could be used by the entire community, especially in the case of dental care, medication management, and behavioral stuff that would be at least starting down the path of what the task force put out. Second one is clearly you have land. The public partnership, looking at the Harbor Village model that was done at Fairview, that's a way to at least build some integrated housing for folks. I visited Harbor Village. It's a very impressive model on a way that many people would want to live in a community because it is very integrated. Fourth one was really, again, looking at when we're making the investment in retrofitting. Let's look at what facilities we think we're going to have 5 years from now, which is really probably Porterville Developmental Center, the Secure Treatment Facility, Canyon Springs, although that's a leased facility. The other ones, what that's going to look like will be very different. So I think when we invest our dollars, we should do it in looking beyond this year or next year, but a few years out. And finally, my question as a taxpayer is, they talk about and refer to ICER. We obviously let a contract. I'm assuming you would like to know who that's with. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
I'm Tim Hornbecker, and I have been here before representing the Arc of San Francisco, but I saw the light, and I jumped ship. Now I'm with the Arc of Alameda County. Yes. There is more sunshine over there, okay? But less money. So what I'm here with 18 of our self-advocates. I have Gabby with me here, and I have to get Gabby back to the, we have to drive all the way back to get her back in time for her bus. But I wanted to share a couple of things. We serve over 500 people in Alameda County, children and adults. And we want to have those kinds of services that will support people coming out of the Sonoma Developmental Center and the other developmental centers. And right now, it's a real struggle even to have supported employment, let alone we have an alternative ventures program that Gabby is in. We don't have enough funding with supported employment with the cuts that they've had in the past. So I'm asking that we really look at getting more supports in the community if we're going to place these people in the community. People want to work, they want a job, they want to be active in the community and not be in our facilities. So that's what I'm my main thing, we support the Lanterman recommendations in the letter, and so I'm not going to talk about those other issues, but I did want to give Gabby a chance to say something. Gabby, can you introduce yourself?
This folk. I work at where?
Well, you work at the ARC,
Art. What?
Food Bank,
Food bank. And
and you work also at the...
food bank. Wheels. I got. I want a job.
She wants a job at Kmart.
Come on.
And why do you want a job there?
I can get money.
I love it.
I want right there.
All right.
Thank
so
you, Gabby, very much.
Thank you for having
Thank you
us.
for being with us. Hello.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Ramirez. I support approximately 300 clients with developmental disabilities. We're in support of the framework presented by the DC Task Force, and I wanted to speak a little bit today about the community infrastructure. I think you've heard it already from many that we definitely have a need in our community to build that structure. Year after year, the CPP utilization of those funds are not utilized complete to their fullest. Year after year, we're not building that infrastructure. And I'm seeing that year after year, we're putting more and more money into the DCs. We have 210 more employees being provided to SDC. We have about 708 employees to support 80 individuals in Latterman. The system's broke. We're not utilizing the community infrastructure and those funds to build the community, but yet we're putting more money into the DCs. I can only speak to my own experience being somebody that utilizes CPP funds for clients. My team is at Sonoma almost weekly, moving clients out. It shouldn't take 2 years to move a client out of a DC. Appropriate community placement has been set. My experience has been, and this is only one problem, is that the gatekeepers of how soon a client moves out of the DC is held by the staff. So I just wanted to leave you with that.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Hi, my name is Jamie Davis. I'm the Executive Director of Marin Ventures in San Rafael. And I'm fortunate to know Corinne Shelley, who spoke before about her son Eric and his experience at Ag News and how happy she is with his community services. I've known Eric and Corinne for about 20 years. And he's hard to serve. And we do it. The staff who supports him, I'm able to pay $13 an hour. The Lanterman Act says it will serve all people with developmental disabilities. It doesn't set up a two-tier system where some people get a lot more money than other people and a lot more access to higher paid staff, better ratios, old buildings. You know, the question of equity goes both ways. I sometimes feel like we're so caught up in our process as described by the Lanterman Act for people who are in developmental centers that we forget their lives are at stake, that we're clinging to issues about state staff and old buildings and, you know, and people are dying and being raped and murdered. And other states have seen those kinds of things occurring in their large states institutions and just closed them. And I don't know where the political will is for this. It just has to go away. They have to go away because of equality for the people being served. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Rose, and I have Asperger's syndrome. So forgive me if I say a lot. I live at the Cedars of Marin. It is not a DC, and it is a very nice place. I don't think without the Lanterman Act that it would be around, and I would probably have been institutionalized, and that's not good for any of us because there's a lot of people at Cedars who I think would do very poorly in DCs because as is we are allowed to make art and sell what we have, and we are able to go into the community. We are like a little family, and I don't think anybody in our family should be institutionalized just because that's where we have to go. I don't think anybody else would like to put their family members in such a place either. So I would like the act to be passed, please.
Thank you very much, Rose.
Hello, I'm Jan Moore, and I'm an art facilitator at the Cedars of Marin, and Rose is one of the artists I work with, and she's an extraordinarily talented person who has many capacities, some of which we could better serve with staff that had the skills that met her needs. She could probably do computer animation given the opportunity and someone who could teach her to do that. I have a Master of Fine Arts degree, and I bring everything that's in me as a professional artist to the table when I work with the people that I work with. I bring all my curiosity, I bring my love of art and my ability to demonstrate and create and make to them and facilitate and encourage them in doing the same thing so that they have a sense of meaning and pleasure in their daily lives. Why do we forget pleasure, for Christ's sakes, in the arts? It's a wonderful thing to have in your life, and it gives your life meaning. And in order for me to be able to offer that, I need to have a sense of stability in my own life so that I can offer the stability of continued presence in program to the people that I work with. And I hope that you will take into consideration the recommendations of the white paper that the Golden Gate Regional Center has presented and raise our rates. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please.
Hi, my name is Jones Germani. I'm a community support facilitator at a supported living agency. I want to continue to be able to provide the services and support which allows individuals to approximate the pattern of everyday living available to people without disabilities. And as a community support facilitator, I continue to see positive outcomes in the quality of life from the people that we support in their own communities and in their own home. I'm here to support the recommendations of the task force and the Letterman Coalition. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name's Daniel Santos. I'm a community support facilitator. I support the Letterman Coalition, and I don't envy your job. I appreciate the comment he made about every day is a rainy day for people. Obviously, I support people with disabilities, but I don't support people with disabilities. I just support people. And I think that gets missed sometimes, whether people are in an institution or trying to come out and live in the community. I think we need to support that more and just look at people as people. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, Senator Monning, my name's Sue North. I represent the California Disability Services Association. We are in strong support of the Letterman Coalition and in support of the recommendations of the task force. We are really counting on this committee to continue to make a difference in the timing and quality of the services that are going to be needed for people remaining in the developmental centers. We acknowledge everybody that you're hearing today is well-intentioned and wants to do the right thing by way of person-centered planning for each individual who still remains in the developmental centers. At the same time, we are also struck by the irony of the article today about the incidents that continue to be happening within the developmental centers. It's a tragedy, and we urge you to not let up, to make sure that we've got the resources necessary, that we have creative ways of financing that we don't now have. I asked the sergeants to pass this out. It gives you a very quick picture of where the money goes in our current system, and you can't help but question the $23,000 on average for people who are in active services in the regional center system. While all these cuts have been going on that we will talk about next when we get to the community side of the story, the community has absorbed thousands of people coming out of the developmental centers. And the people coming out yesterday and the day before and a couple of years ago are not necessarily any dramatically different than the ones who still remain. So we just have to stay with it. And we urge you to look at the CPP process as you've raised, as Peggy raised in the analysis. We've heard nothing but complaints from people at the local level trying to get the CPP process working in a timely way. And it makes absolutely no sense to us that we would have money not spent year over year when we're in the middle of doing this transition. We need to get about the business of deciding what kinds of services are needed where and get it going. And again, we thank you for the leadership you've already exhibited, and we're looking forward to working with you through that process. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Hello.
Hi, my name is Cupino, Raul Cupino. I am a care provider for our intellectually disabled clients. Just like Director Rogers, who used to be my boss at Agnews, I always bring a copy of the Lanterman Act. We care for 24,000 consumers, and our costs compared to a developmental center are 1:13. Yet, we are here today asking for your help as the care homes are closing at a dramatic rate. If we do not act now, the small minority-owned care homes will disappear. We want to be open and continue caring for our consumers. They are our extended family, and we will be truly sad to see them move somewhere. Finally, our government should look into the consequences of immediate relocation, as transfer trauma is real and can impair the health and safety of the client who have been living in care homes for over 30 years. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Melanie, the Director of Residential Services for Las Trampas in the Bay Area. I oversee our supported living, independent living, and 5 licensed care homes, one of which is a new CPP home where that we just opened in January, and the residents are thriving. So I know that you are aware of the increase to cost of living for that's in the budget proposal for the sorry, nervous.
Don't be nervous.
For the increase for the developmental center staff. What you may not be aware of is, on average, developmental center staff who do direct care services, so bathing, cleaning of the residents, taking care of them, making sure they get their medications, all the same things that our staff do in the community with them, earn between $17 and $36 an hour. Our staff earn between $8 and $12 an hour, $12 if they're really lucky. And it's, the program has a really great fund development committee. So we're not asking to be compensated at the same rates as those state workers, because we know that would break the bank, but we are asking for a fair and living wage for our staff so we can continue to provide services in the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Senator Corbett and Senator Moning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Harry Taylor. I work with an organization called California Mentor, and we serve about 2,500 individuals throughout the state. We also serve a number of individuals, some with the most challenging medical needs that moved out of Lanterman and Agnews developmental centers. We fully support the recommendations of the Lanterman Coalition as well as the DC Task Force. I guess the one thing I really want to say is that the individuals who live in developmental centers have very challenging needs. We in the community are in the business of serving individuals who have very challenging needs. There is no one living in a developmental center today that does not have a cohort with the same kinds of needs in the community. The process needs to be very thorough, very premeditative in terms of the transition, but we need to look for ways to say, how do we make this happen, not why can't it happen? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Senator Corbett, Senator Moning, and our staff. My name is Tony Anderson. I'm the Executive Director of the ARC of California and also represent United Cerebral Palsy for the state. I'm here today, though, on this issue to represent the Lanterman Coalition. You've heard of us, and we're very diverse organizations, statewide organizations, and we fully support the recommendations of the Secretary's Task Force on the Future Developmental Centers, all 6 of the recommendations. And the reason to be so specific about that is because we also really want to thank Marty Emoto, one of our great champions in our community, and others that were on the task force who really supported number 6, which is that you cannot delink the need to look closely at the community system from the need and the proper response to the future of the developmental centers. It's all one piece, it's all one part of the conversation, and it can't be delayed or delinked. So again, the Lanterman Coalition has supported all of those recommendations, and we thank all of our champions in the legislature who made this task force occur, and the secretary for doing it. But in particular, especially Senator Monning, pushing on the fact that the community piece is so critical. I know that you all understand that, but I just can't let that go without saying it one more time. So thank you.
Thank you very much.